I'm hitting the record button now.
Awesome.
Okay, everybody, welcome to Lunch and Learn today. Today is Wednesday, so we have assistive tech today. And we not only have Patty here, but we have a special guest, Beth, who is from LessonPix. And she is going to walk us through what that is and how you can use LessonPix. So I will hand over the reins to you guys.
Now, can I share my screen? I'm sorry, I'm going to move my top screen. Am I able to share my screen?
Yep, you should. There should be at the bottom.
Present now?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I have been primarily using Zoom, so I haven't really. So this is good. This is great. I love that I get to use a different tool because now I can say I've used Google Meet. And I am looking, there's a chat, right? So, okay, so
there is a chat window. The only difference with Zoom and Google Meet is you can't see us while you're presenting, which is kind of a bummer.
That's okay, yeah.
I can see your screen right now, just so you know.
Perfect. So I have the chat open and I have two monitors so I can see the chat. So if somebody has a question, feel free to put it in the chat. And Erica or Patty, if I don't respond to it, feel free to get on the mic and say, hey, there's this question. Would you be able to answer this now? Hi, everybody. My name is Beth Poss. I am a speech language pathologist. I worked for 30 years in a school district in Maryland, Montgomery County Public Schools, where I was everything from a school-based SLP. I was a member of our district's assistive technology team for 10 years. I was a curriculum writer, and then I went into administration and supervision, and I actually supervised all of the staff for our special ed pre-K programs, and then I spent 3 years as an assistant principal in an elementary school. So I've been in the schools. I know I can't put myself in the place that you all are in right now with the remote teaching that you guys are having to do, but I'm hearing from all my friends, and as I've now gone on to work for LessonPix as of the beginning of the year, we've been really working hard to make sure that our tool is being really responsive to the needs of distance learning and teletherapy. So I'm going to take you guys on a tour of it. I usually take an hour to do this, but I'm going to do it in a half hour. So I won't show everything, but I'm going to show the things that I think are most pertinent. I know you guys have some LessonPix licenses in your district. Anybody can get on LessonPix and go in it and play with it full featured. Anything that you do in it, though, if you were try to use it or use it or print it, you would have great big watermarks over it. So you guys can go on to lessonpix.com even if you don't have a license and play with it and get a sense of it. And then you can talk to the people with the money if it's something that you feel like you need to be able to have access to. It is only $36. It starts at $36 a year for an individual license. So if you on your own, we're going to go use your PTA money, or your building principal said, sure, I'll get that for you. It's only $36 a year for the subscription. And then your district, if you've got more than 10 licenses, you've got at least a 10% discount for licenses, and the discount goes up with 25 and 100, up to 100 licenses. We have at a 20% discount. So just so that you guys know, I know not everybody on this necessarily has access to it, but you can go in and play with the whole 9 yards of it. It'll just have great big watermarks across it. So I'm going to take you into it. It is a clip art at its heart. It's clip art program, but it's highly flexible to be able to use it and create a lot of resources. I'm going to just really quickly sort of show you how you might create a resource in it. You can search for images in our search tab. You can go to images and search and just come up with any words that you want. But all of our vocabulary is also organized categorically in folders. I'm not going to take the time. I usually do go through all the folders, but enough to say that we have over 50,000. We need to update this at our team meeting, which I have after this. I'm going to say we got to update that. It says we've got over 50,000 images. But I'm going to go right now into the animals folder just because it's such a popular topic. It's something we really address at all grade levels. Kids love it, and it's something fun. And since we're heading into summer, and I really wish I was at the beach, let's go into the folder that says oceans and lakes. And again, I could be searching for words, but sometimes going into the folders, if I'm doing something thematic, it's easier and quicker for me to go in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put some images in our tray, and then I'm going to show you how to make materials for those images. So I'm going to go ahead and let's do an angelfish, and let's do the clownfish and coral and a crab. And all I'm doing is clicking on that plus sign, and it puts it in my tray. Okay, so I could get a dolphin. Let's skip the dead fish. Oh, why don't we get an eel? I'm going to keep going. Let's get a flamingo and a hermit crab. And let's do a hammerhead shark. Oh, and definitely a jellyfish and a killer whale and a lobster. For you New Englanders, right? We can do a manatee and a mussel and a narwhal. True story. I really thought narwhals were imaginary creatures like unicorns until very recently. Terrible, isn't it? Okay, let's do an otter. And how about a pufferfish? Because those are so cool. And a ray and a sea anemone. So again, I am simply clicking on the plus sign to add them in. I'm going to get a whole bunch of different images in here. You can see the wide array of vocabulary that we have. Let's get a squid and a starfish. And let's do a sea turtle. And let's do a whale. Okay, so I've got a whole bunch of images in my tray, and now I'm going to click on Create Materials. It takes us to our wizard, and it lets me choose what material type we have. And I'm going to show you a few different examples of things, but right now, so we have things like picture schedules. If you are making, if you need to make a picture schedule for a visual schedule for a student, we have first then boards for behavioral prompts. I could easily take this and make a book and story about sea creatures in it. I can do all of those kinds of things. I've got tally cards. I've got matching large and small pictures. So if I had like a picture of the ocean and then I wanted to put all of the animals that go in the ocean in it, I could do that. So we have lots of different ones. We have communication device boards. So if you are working with students who are using augmentative communication, you can create low-tech boards for them, or you can create boards overlays for their mid-tech systems. We have things, I could make all of this into a wonderful coloring book about sea animals. I could have lacing cards for my OTs out there so that you would hole punch and have lacing cards, cutting links and cutting lines for working on those fine motor skills. We have lots of drawing pages and writing pages. So for be able to create a whole set of pages with students to like pick their favorite sea animal to write about. But I'm going to take you in and show you our bingo games real quick. We have lots of other games and other curriculum activities. And after I do the bingo games, I'm going to show you one other thing just I can do with the same set. So once I click on the type of material I want to make, it takes me here. I can make changes here. If I was writing a book, I could put something in like A is for angelfish, right? So I can add whatever text that I want here. Right now, I'm just going to go through and check this. Now, we just added a brand new feature in here, this little modify list button. So if I want everything to be in lowercase, like sometimes I want my words all to be in lowercase, or if I wanted it to all be in uppercase or title case, I could change the order. So I could, this is pretty much in alphabetical order just because the way I went through it, but if I wanted it, or if I wanted it shuffled so that it wasn't in alphabetical order, I could go through and do that. So I'm just going to check and make sure everything is sort of the way that I want it to look in here, which it does. There's nothing like with a funky name on it. Okay. I could also here translate. So if you have families that you're working with and you're sending home materials to be used as follow-up by families, and that family's primary language is Spanish, you can translate it into Spanish. You can translate into any of these languages here. We're supported by, we use Google Translate. It'll support different alphabet systems. So just so that you know, our resources can be used in any language, which is great, because sometimes if we want that carryover, we might get more carryover from home if the resource is being sent home in the language that the family speaks at home. I'm going to click next. I'm not going to translate anything right now. And I'm going to title this to be my Ocean Bingo. And I have, with every template that I have, there is generally multiple variations of that template. So for our bingo card layout, the typical layout is 5 by 5 with a free spot, right? But if I'm working with younger students, for example, who maybe don't have that attention span or need to get success and get a bingo faster, I might choose the 3 by 3 or the 4 by 4 squares. If I'm working with older kids or kids, you know, high school kids even, then the 5 by 5 would be appropriate. I'll go ahead and leave it at the 5 by 5. I can change the color of my background. So if I want more of like, I don't know, an ocean blue, I could choose that instead. I can have the image titles shown or not shown. And I'll show you an example of a time where I didn't have the image title shown, but for this I wanted to. This is where it's super important and the magic happens, is the number of unique cards. Because when you play bingo, you don't want to have everybody have the same bingo card. It's not fun. You don't want people all getting bingo at the same bingo at the same time. So you can have up to 30 bingo cards. So if you're a classroom teacher and you've got 30 kids in there, you can have 30 different bingo. If you only have 5 or 6 kids that you're working with in a small group, you can just do that. I'm going to go ahead and do, I'll do 4 bingo cards right now. Just for the more bingo cards I have, it takes a little bit longer for it to build. It still is super fast. And I'm going to have my cards to draw from a hat so that we can have something to do the bingo. And I'm going to click finish. And it's going to take just a moment to generate the images. So give it a second. And then as soon as it does, I'll be able to save it. Just while it's preparing, here we go. So I'm going to download this as a PDF, but I am going to show you how you can download this into other formats as well. So I'm going to download it as a PDF. It'll pop up in just a moment. And let me drag it onto my, I have 2 monitors and it popped up on the other monitor, but here we go. So let me reduce it down so you guys can see it. So here's our ocean bingo, right? So you can see this one starts with a turtle. This one starts with a lobster. This one starts with a hermit crab. So they're all different, right? And there's my bingo draw sheet. So if I was in a classroom setting back in my physical space, I'd be able to take these, laminate them, cut up my draw cards, and we'd be ready to go playing bingo when we were doing our unit on sea creatures or whatever it is that we were doing. If I was a speech pathologist, I could set this up with all the target sounds with this. If I was an occupational therapist, we could be playing bingo, but be having them be actions. And every time we call the action, they have to do that action. So there's lots of different ways I can use bingo, but I do want to show you that you can also download the same activities as in other formats in PowerPoint. So I'm going to show you that real quickly. But first I'm going to save this. It's saved. It's automatically saved to your LessonPix. But I'm going to show you our share center. And this is the one thing, if you are not a subscriber and you go in and play with everything, you're not going to be able to share anything. It's not going to be saved. It's not going to be able to share anything. You'll just be able to make that. You could make that exact same activity. It's just going to have a big watermarks around it. So the idea is it makes it a little difficult for you to use it without being a subscriber. But I'm going to click on the share button. The default for all of our materials is to have it be private. But if you want to make it public, we really encourage that because we have a very rich sharing center. I'm just going to put Ocean Bingo on here. And I'm going to click save. And then it's going to go right into my sharing center. So let's go ahead and take a look at that sharing center. And I'll come back to those in just a minute. But let's go ahead and take a look at our sharing center. So our sharing center literally has thousands of materials in it. And it is a great resource because you don't always even have the time. That took seconds for us to create, minutes for us to create that bug bingo because I was explaining it to you. I'm sorry, that ocean bingo because I was explaining it to you. But if you're looking for something, you could have gone in and searched for it in here. So remember, we were talking about visual schedules. That's what I actually have it on right now. Let's go to any type. There's our ocean bingo. It came right up. You can see people have made tic-tac-toe boards. Here's an animal bingo that somebody did. We've got adapted board games. We've got some social interaction cues. We have lots of board game templates in here, which is super fun. This is, I had talked about before, another printable type of activity, but I'm going to show you guys how you can use this in a remote learning center also, where somebody had created about volcanoes, and it was the idea that they needed to put all of these images in the volcano, or they print it out, they cut and paste. So lots of different things in our sharing center. I can search the sharing center. So if I wanted more things about ocean, I could find it. If I wanted to see like everything that somebody, maybe we're getting ready for summer school activities and I want to see everything that people have done around summer, and there's all these different things. Somebody's made some camping mazes and drawing materials, and somebody made Independence Day trivia game. And a summer coloring book, an ocean animals, another ocean animals bingo, all the different things that you can just simply search for and will come up because I'm looking for it that way. But let's say I was looking for, I'm going to show all, I was looking for example for like a visual schedule. So let me go in here and look for picture schedules, and I'm going to, it goes and it shows me all the different picture schedules. Somebody's got one for feeding your dog. Somebody has one for their classroom meeting schedule. Somebody did it for the life cycle of a chicken, right? A schedule doesn't always have to be the order of a task. It could be the order of events in a story or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to one that I know is here that I made, and it's a calm down schedule. So I'm going to click on that to take a look at it. And it's an activity, not an activity, it's a schedule to provide to students so that they have some choices of things to do when they are getting upset or agitated. So we've got some different things that they can go through. Now I could go ahead and download this as a PDF, just like I did with the bingo game. But let's say I wanted it to be able to, and you could email those PDFs to families. You could pull them up as a PDF and be able to utilize them. But let's say I wanted to use this in a more digital format. I could go ahead and click on download other formats, and it's going to allow me to download it as a PowerPoint with tokens or a movable PowerPoint. I'm going to go ahead and download it right now, excuse me, just as a plain PowerPoint. It's just going to take a moment, and I'll go ahead and download that. And I'm going to pull that right up. I'm going to slide it over onto the monitor. And we've got this schedule here, right? It actually has multiple pages. There's 3 different pages for 15 different things that a student could do. And I could use this now in a digital environment. Now I realize that Erica and Patty both told me that you guys are a Google School District. So I do want to show you how you can utilize this not just as a PowerPoint, but as a Google School. Now, if I was on a Chromebook and I had downloaded this as a PowerPoint, it would have automatically opened it up in Google Slides. I'm not on a Chromebook right now, so I can't show you that. But what I can show you is how easy it is to be able to upload it to Google Slides. So I'm going to go into my Google Drive, and I'm going to go to New, and I'm going to go to File Upload because it already exists on my computer as a PowerPoint file. And I know I just stuck it randomly in my documents, so I'm gonna, but I know what it was. It was calm down. So I'm just gonna, there we go. There's that calm down schedule. And whoops. Let me close that for a second. I don't want to open it. I wanted to open it in PowerPoint. Calm. So I want to go to that. I'm sorry. This is me, not you. This is not the thing. So let me just go ahead. Here we go. Let me find it. Now I can open it in, and it's going to pull up and it's going to open it in Google Slides. So give it a second and it's going to come up in Google Slides. Less than a minute left. I'm on a little bit of a pokey internet. I live out in the middle of nowhere. And there it goes. So we've got it. So it comes in and it looks just like this. It's as a PowerPoint, and I can go, if I could say, open it with Google Slides, and it pops right into Google Slides. So now I could either, as this opens up, you'll see, so I could be sharing this with a student. Now I could ask them to check off things that they've done. They could either use annotate features of the program that they are in, or I could go back into my LessonPix, and I could search for, if I want a check mark, right? I'm going to search for a check mark. So there's a check mark, and I'm literally just going to copy that image. If I want a higher quality image to copy, I'm not so much worried because this is, I'm going to keep small. I would just have clicked on it to show the higher quality image. Now I can go back in and I can paste in that check mark, and let me paste in a few of them, because there's 5 things on a page, right? And so now as the student goes through this calm down schedule that they choose, well, they're going to do their 5 minutes in a calm down spot, and then maybe they're going to stand like a tree. And so the student could do this digitally as well. I'm going to flip over and show you a bingo activity that's the same way, right? So here I have my bingo. The only thing different that I did is when I downloaded that calm down, when I downloaded this bingo, is instead of downloading it as the PowerPoint fixed, I did it as the PowerPoint movable. And what that did is it gave me on each of these pages, I have the ability to move that bingo board around. So I could put 2 on one page, right? And then we can be together in the Google Slides and we can be playing our bingo. I could have my bingo draw cards. I'm going to show you something really cool that you could do if you were doing this in PowerPoint instead of Google, and it'll get to Google, but it's not there yet. So we could be calling for that. And then you can see with this one, I made this with all text, and I'll show you how to do that really quickly. I know we only have a few minutes left, but that would be where I wouldn't want to have the word as the symbol and then the word also at the same time. So we'd be able to play bingo together. If the student, if I had shared this with a student and they had access to my Google Slides, they could on their end be moving the bingo chips themselves, or they could tell me what to do. I see Coast, it's up there, move it, it's at the top, right? So we could be able to do that. I just want to show you one other example of a really fun activity kind of thing that you can do. So this was one I did for the book I Went Walking, the children's book I Went Walking, and the same way you'd be able to copy and paste all of your images in to Google Slides, we could do that here, right? And then I have that boy goes walking and he's looking and he says, oh, what do I see? And we move that along and we've got the cat. So I've got my digital materials the same way I might do with a felt board or with real manipulatives in a classroom situation. If I have students who are augmentative communication users, I copied and pasted in an augmentative communication board here to go with this that I could have on the side so I could be modeling for that student. I actually have it on a whole separate page here if I want to be modeling for that student. I have it's set down as it's like at 50% or so. So I could see all the things. I'm using all my real estate, right? This is the slide. This is the slide if I was in present mode that they'd be seeing, but I wanted all of this real estate. I could have them sort like what animal noise sounds like, what animal starts with a D, a duh, duh, duh. And so we could talk about, we've got D for dog and we've got D for duck. So all the really cool, fun things that I can be doing with that. Let me go back into LessonPix and show you real quickly. Actually, I'm going to go into Google Slides. I'm sorry, not Google Slides. I'm going to show you in PowerPoint. I know you all are, come on. Let's minimize that and minimize that. Here we go. So I know you guys are a PowerPoint or a Google Slides district, but if you also have access to PowerPoint, and so therefore the material is going to download right as a PowerPoint, I want to show you a really powerful feature that we have. So You have the ability to insert LessonPix images with your as an add-in directly into your PowerPoint. So I don't even have to go in and copy and paste from going back and forth. I can get to my Google Images right here. So I've got my tray, that's all the things there. So if I wanted to, but let's say maybe I'm going to search for, well, what's something that a pirate needs? So like a pirate needs, the pirate needs a sword, right? So I could go in and I could get my sword and search, and we can, there's my pirate sword. And so here's my next page of my book, and let's get him a sword that he'd be able to have. Whoops. Let me click copy, not drag it, so it'll be nice and big. So there's the pirate sword that he gets to hold in that hand. So just to show you that if you're using PowerPoint, now I did the exact same thing when I created that I Went Walking. I created it in PowerPoint and then I uploaded it in my Google Slides. So if you have access to PowerPoint, you can do all your creation in it and then share it with students in Google Slide or give them access to Google Slides. I'm going to flip back into LessonPix real fast. I want to show you one last thing, and then I'll stop because I know it's, if we have a couple extra minutes, I'll show you two more things. So let me go back in here. And what I just wanted to show you is how I still have all these images in my tray, right? I can go on and I can create something else. I don't have to re-put those images in my tray. So maybe I want to make a counting activity. So let me go down and I can do my number cards and I can click next and I have all of those there. And I don't have to do anything to those images, but now I can have my number cards. So let's just do ocean number cards. And I can decide how many numbers do I want to go up to? What style do I want it to be? Like puzzles. So when I'm back in my classroom, I want to cut them up. Separate boxes, so same thing, so they're matching. Or maybe I just want to create flashcards kind of that I could use online right now. So I'll do it with the no separator. And I can click finish. Again, it just takes a moment for the magic to happen. So thank you for being patient for just a moment, especially with my internet. I like that. It says, just think about how long it would take by hand. So it really doesn't take that long. Actually, while that's working and doing its magic, I'm going to flip into Jamboard. So Jamboard is part of the Google suite of tools, and you can get to it from those little dots that come up when you're in your Google Drive. But I just want to show you, this is all resources that we made using. So I could do tic-tac-toe, and I can take the pen, and so we could do our tic-tac-toe for prepositions, right? Here's another one for those speech pathologists working on those Z sounds. I could use it for math space, and so I can use my pointer there, and maybe the problem is 6 plus 2, so I need to drag, I want to have 6 counters in there, right? And then I'm going to draw my number 6 because I've got 6. And then I'm going to use my plus, and then I'm going to go back and get 2. So to be able to do some of that kind of workspace stuff that we can't do in a classroom setting right now, to be able to use this. Well, my image should be ready to download. Right now, I'm just going to download it as a PDF, but remember, I could download it as a PowerPoint also. Just downloading it as the PDF because it'll be fast. And there's my number cards. And what I want you to notice is that it took the order of the images that I have. And so it's 1 angelfish and 2 clownfish and 3 coral and 4 crabs. I didn't have to put in the number. That just magically happened. And it would go, I may have had more than 15 things, but it went all the way up to the number that I had for 15. That was the max number of cards it was going to generate. So I'm going to stop, and I know that was a super quick overview. There's so much more to it. What I am going to show you is that we have a whole page of tutorials that will tell you how to do things in PowerPoint. We have a whole one on Google that I created. So if you want to be like, I don't remember how did she say to do it in Google, you can just search under articles for Google, and the article on Google should come up. Yep, here we go. So this was for using Google applications with LessonPix and teletherapy. It includes some videos that you can watch. So anything that I sort of went through super fast, you guys can come back to and take a look. So I'm going to stop for a minute. I do see, oops, I missed the questions in here. So let's see. Can we set up a share center for just one school? So Patty, no, the share center, the share center is for everybody to use. What you can do is when you save a material, so if I wanted to save this, I am going to edit that description. I can, and I didn't want it to be for everyone, maybe, I could have it as unlisted and I could just have that URL. So I could create things like for one school and have all of those resources. If the school has if you, let's say, Patty, are the OT for that school, you can upload resources that you've created for students that you use in that school, like in your Google Classroom or anything. And then I'm just looking to see, 30 minutes is not enough. So if there's anything that you, any other questions that you guys have, please feel free to unmute yourself, ask a question. I'm happy to answer any questions. Let me put my, like, trying to get my mouse back over to the, there we go. I'm going to put my email in here. So it's beth.poss@lessonpix.com. Make sure I spelled that all right. Yep. And if you guys have questions, you're more than welcome to email me. Again, you can go on to lessonpix.com and play in this without a license. Everything's just going to have a giant watermark on it if you do that, but it's completely available for you to get an idea, to see if there's something, if you want to advocate for yourselves to be able to have access to it, to get a subscription from the people that may pay for things for you. Is there any other questions, Patty or Erica, if you guys want to unmute yourself and if there's anything else that you wanted to add?
This is Patty. One of the things that was not able to be covered is just the number of activities that you can create. I mean, and going into this 30 minutes would not be enough, but that's the time for our lunch and learn. But it's countless. And like last year for summer programming, we just did a whole series on Eric Carle books, and we had every kind of activity possible, and it was so easy and simple, and really the kids loved it, and it was just fabulous. Like, I just can't say enough good about it.
Absolutely. And one of our folders actually on here, like if you use the folder view to get to things, is our stories and songs. And so if there's a lot of people here that are in that early childhood world, we've got all the images you would need for 5 monkeys on a bed, brown bear, 5 little ducks, good night moon. There's that hungry caterpillar. So you don't have to go finding all of those things. It's all there and ready for you to be able to create. So yes, there's tons. There's over 80 templates, and within the 80 templates, there's variations, like 20 different game templates and 20 different schedule templates. And so there literally are hundreds of different templates. And a good way to kind of get a sense of what different things are out there is just to go through the sharing center and see there. And also in the articles and tutorials, there's lots of cool ideas and tips for using specific templates for specific purposes.
Yeah. I use the Cranium Caribou.
Oh, yes.
So amazing. Like, there's overlays for games that already exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got for Guess Who and Zingo and a lot of those games, and then games that you can make up on your own. Like, that's one of the ones for a Guess Who game. Yeah.
I have Who Has. That's a fabulous one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Card games, like you can make your own Uno card setups, or you can make for different card games and all of that. And there's so many things already done in the sharing center. And just one, if I can take like 2 seconds, let's say with this ocean bingo, let me go ahead and I'm going to clear my tray out. But let's say with this ocean bingo, I was looking at it and I'm like, well, that's perfect, but she doesn't have, I don't know, shark on there. So if I wanted to, I can also take something that somebody else has done and I can adapt it myself simply by loading all of the pictures back into my tray. So it's a way that I can get back, whether it's to my own images or whether it's to somebody else's resource, to be able to tweak it a little bit. So it's just a good thing to know. That's a quick way to get images loaded into your tray, is to go into an existing activity and simply click on load all. Again, I usually do an hour, and even that doesn't get to everything because we have so many new features, in the PowerPoint, which I didn't spend as much time on because my understanding was you guys are primarily a Google school. But just to show you, we have spinners and dice and draw cards now, and a timer in our PowerPoint. We're hoping that by the summer, we have the software abilities to put it all in Google, into the Google Slides as a feature. It's just the logistics of doing it through Google's a little more time consuming. So we're actually hoping that that's one of our summer tasks, is to get all of those features and have access to the tray and to the search in Google Slides as well.
Oh, one other thing, Beth, I don't know if you covered this, but how you can upload photographs. So like we have all kids, teachers, all kids.
Exactly. So like if you want to use we have over 50,000 symbols, but if you want real images, you can go in. You can actually do this super easily from your phone also. LessonPix pulls up beautifully on your phone. I'm showing someone like the mobile site, so you can even do it from your phone. But you can just go, if I'm on my computer, I can just go to File and go My Pictures. Yep. So like if I wanted a picture of a specific child, I could go ahead in there and Kiana and upload that particular picture. And then it would be in my LessonPix. And it's right here. So anything you make with a photo that you've uploaded, you cannot share it to the sharing center. It doesn't allow you to, but you could share that as an unlisted to somebody else that you needed to send it to, or you could just email the file, the PDF or the PowerPoint that you create with it. And then we also have our symbol builder. So sometimes you can't find exactly the image that you want. Like maybe I wanted the coral and I wanted a fish swimming in the coral. So I could have my coral here. Like if I wanted to make like a really cool scene of stuff, and then I could get my clown fish. So I could create my own scene that way, right? I can send this and I can rearrange the order of things. So if I want to send that to so he's in front and going in between, and then I'd have my C scene that I'd be able to use. I'd save it and I'd be able to use it whenever I wanted in images. So you can use the symbol builder to make exactly the image that you want from existing symbols.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Beth.
Oh, you're very welcome. Again, feel free to reach out if you guys have questions. Feel free to play in it to get a sense of it. And it's $36 is where it starts. And if you purchase more through the school district, it's at a discounted price because you guys have more than 10 licenses already.
Great. Thank you so much, Beth. This was
You're
really
welcome.
great.
And Patty's a great resource for you guys to go to with questions about it, because obviously she's an awesome LessonPix user. So.
Yes. Among other many talents she has.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to stop presenting.
Great afternoon.
Thank you. You too. Take care. I'm going to see how I leave this, right?